Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Masters Tour at Las Vegas. We're live from the Link Hotel. I'm TJ, joined by Derek Brown, and we're kind of wrapping up round 2 here, trying to find some matches that we can jump into. Apologies for the delay in the last matchup. We did get word that Gallon did defeat Dinker 2-0.
Yeah.
So he moves on to a 2-0 score in the Swiss round. Does not bode well for you, but that's okay.
We all knew that he was the champion, let's be honest.
We all knew that he was the champion. But yeah, things are starting to kind of settle down here round 2. We're kind of in the very middle of the entire event floor here.
It's exciting.
It is exciting. There's players kind of mingling around right now. All
Yeah.
the players that have finished up their round are waiting to see the results of the last couple matches, get their pairings as we move into round 3. Still a long day left. Still 5 rounds of Swiss, a lot of Hearthstone left to play. But it's cool to kind of see new players and old players mingling together, sharing ideas, trash talking and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, look, anywhere you look around here, like there, it's like Dog, Casey, Bunny Hopper, Cintalol, like there's more points per square meter in this room than I think there has ever been before.
Yeah, just saw Swids walk by, as well as some of his Vitality teammates. Right there's Derek Brown, famous broken-armed Hearthstone caster that we all know and love. Right here.
That's TJ.
I'm TJ. I'm not important. Bloody Faces over there too. All have finished up their matches. And what I'm most excited about over the course of the next couple of days is kind of seeing what decks come out on top. A lot of players brought Warrior, so on average, you'd say Warrior would be the deck that came out on top. But I think we were talking backstage a little bit. I think Mage has a decent chance.
Yeah.
Just because of all the Warriors, a lot of players are main deck countering Warrior with their lineups, or at least hedging against it. We're seeing Luna's Pocket Galaxy in main decks, which great against Warrior because it allows for just constant pressure throughout the game. I'm looking to see which decks kind of come out on top.
I am fully expecting Mage to do very well in this tournament. I think for 2 reasons. Like you said, it's got a pretty good matchup against Warrior, especially when you're teching for it in your primary deck. But also, it seems to me that a lot of the players whom I respect the most have gone with Mage. I'm talking about players like Hunter Ace, of course. I think Just Saiyan also has a very similar Mage deck to him. Like, the real top tier Hearthstone players, even amongst this field of very, very strong players, have gone for the Mage, and therefore I think the piloting of a lot of these Mage decks will be very, very strong indeed.
Yeah, one of the players, especially to note with Mage, is APX Void, who's known as one of the best, if not the best Mage player single-handedly in the world.
Yeah.
Pretty much only plays Mage. I've seen him dabble in other decks, but if you watch his stream, which he streams often, kind of late for me, for West Coast, especially for East Coast, for US, but he only plays Mage. You look at his collection, it's just 18 different Mage decks, all with like different little techs, and he switches between them. Often innovates with Mage and takes decks that we know very well, like Cyclone Mage.
Yeah.
Tries to put his own spin on him. He's in the field right now. I believe he's 1-1 currently in the standings.
Yeah, lost his first match.
Yeah. But still, like we said, plenty of Hearthstone left to play for him. Excited to see where he finishes, because I think that's one of the things that Specialist does very well. It allows players that are specialists at their class to succeed in a giant field. But it looks like we do have another round 2 match ready. We're going to jump into Cydonia versus SirSalty, which is a Warrior Mirror. I believe we're going to jump in right into the action to game number 2. Cydonia currently has a 1-0 game lead, and we're going to jump in just on turn 2 here. SirSalty has just played an Eternium Rover. Yeah,
this is a match that I'm happy to see, because these are 2 players that I'm personally very fond of. They're both very, very nice people indeed. SirSalty actually attends the same university that my girlfriend, until very recently, also attended. So we've hung out in real life, if you'll believe it, a few times.
That's insane. What was that like?
Kind of uncomfortable, but generally enjoyable.
Did you guys eat some fish and chips?
We didn't. He has a student uni first-year apartment, so there was no food and nothing to make tea. We had some water and played Hearthstone.
Sounds like a great time.
It was very enjoyable.
Well, looking at their decks, it looks like Cydonia is on his secondary deck for this game. I see a Sephorium Bomber.
Right.
He does have Archivist Lycion at the top end, a Karen Bloodhoof in this deck, as well as a Snip Snap. So very mid-range centric Warrior deck, which is a direction that a lot of players go when they're trying to counter Warrior. I'm guessing that SirSalty, we don't have full confirmation has gone with his secondary deck as well.
That would make sense.
Which includes Geppetto Joybuzz, Archivist Elysiana, Faceless Manipulator, and Barista Lynchin. So a very interesting deck. We'll try and get confirmation on it. When one of those cards is drawn, we know that it's the secondary deck.
I'm a big fan of this this style of Bomb Warrior, or rather, I love the thinking behind it. At the very least, it came out. The first player I saw play it, I think, was Zirios, another player who was here in Las Vegas after the nerf to Elysiana, bringing it up to 9 mana and not being able to just go Elysiana plus Brewmaster or Baleful Banker to shuffle it back in. So players thought, let's reduce the cost of our Elysiana to 1 mana, or of the Barista Lynchin to bounce it back to the hand, given that it's a Battlecry minion. I think now that it's evolved a little bit further, I generally favor the builds that just go a bit more aggressive, that have the Elix, the Sephorium Bombers, things like that. But for SirSalty, if it does go through to a fatigue game plan, he's looking at a fantastic spot.
Yeah. But, you know, you mentioned it, you like it more, I like it more as well, and honestly, the statistics, at least from what we've seen from Grandmasters and Warrior Mirrors, do favor the more pressure-oriented list. Tempo just seems to be king, and at the beginning of this metagame, a lot of players thought that resource management and value was the name of the game when it came to Warrior Mirrors, but then players started playing for tempo, and turns out when you just get chip damage in with 30 minutes and you have the board and keep it, it's hard to beat, especially when you factor in the bombs. So I do favor Cydonia in this game too, because of those differences in his decks and because his mid game is just way more consistent.
I totally agree. I think the kind of thing you have to realize is that you can have as much value as you want, but if you can't use it, it doesn't mean anything. And also just that as you're playing the game, by being ahead on board, you get to make more favorable value trades, which means you kind of create value just from the fact that your cards are all going 2 for 1 and getting a lot of damage through to face in the meanwhile. As we're seeing from SirSalty here, he's looking to be in a pretty good spot for the moment, especially with the old Dr. Boom on turn 7.
Yeah, it's interesting because even though his deck is less built for this mirror match specifically, he's still got the lead on board.
So many choices.
Have I got a bomb for you?
What did you think of the War Gear techs that have been making their way into some lists in place of Sephorium Bomber and these more mid-range warrior decks?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tech that kind of arose in the last week when I had my feet firmly up in the beautiful town of Ostuni, Italy. So I have not seen it all too much. It makes a lot of sense, though, I think. Like, the Coppertail into War Gear in Rogue against Warrior, I think could be very strong indeed. In Warrior specifically, I think that's a question best left for the Nathans of the world.
All of them collectively.
At the convention of Nathans, at NathanCon 2019.
Hosted by Nathan, that's Admirable Zamora. There's got to be more famous Nathans in the world. Nathan Fillion, there you go.
Nathan Lane.
I don't even know who that is.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you know from? He plays Timon in The Lion King.
Oh, okay.
Or Pumbaa? I can't remember. Timon, I think.
Both?
Yeah, one or the other.
Okay. I was going to say, if he plays both, that's a pretty big vocal range he's got there.
He does have
impressive
a vocal range.
But SirSalty sacrificed a bit of tempo to play Dr. Boom, but it's just so strong for value generation over the course of the game. Finding a turn 2, just get it out there is important, and he's got Cydonia all the way down to 17. Though not much recurring pressure after this turn. Looks like Cydonia is going to be able to clear things up here just a little bit, or at least develop his own board into this.
I don't know. I think SirSalty can keep up this pressure, actually, with Geppetto Joybuzz. If he hits Augmented Elec as a 1/1, he might be able to shuffle even more bombs into the deck.
Yeah, the problem is he only has one Augmented Elec in his deck, so it's pretty unlikely that he hits it. And he does have a lot of misses. Faces Manipulator is probably good to hit Geppetto just because it's not now no longer a 1-mana 1/1. It is whatever it copies.
Right.
But like Archivist Elysiana, Blastmaster Boom, he just hasn't played a good amount of bombs yet to be able to get that active.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. It's possible that he will save the Geppetto Joybuzz until turn 9, because then if he gets the Barista Lynch, he can play it on the same turn and just have a redo with Geppetto Joybuzz, which is a little bit slow, but definitely something to consider.
Yeah, the way this hand pans out, though, I don't know. I feel like playing the Geppetto on the board seems like the best option. You can go for something weird like Clockwork Goblin, Acolyte of Pain, and Blast Shield.
Right.
That's the best play if you absolutely think that you want to fit in a Blast Shield.
Okay.
Which
I
then.
really
would
like
like to.
Blast Shields, Derek. Do you know how much armor that is?
I know exactly how much armor it is.
That's 3.5 armor ups.
Or 1 3/4 tank ups.
Yep.
Hey,
Or-
speak to me.
1 2/5 shield blocks.
Or 7/10 of a Bring It On.
Defend the gates!
Or a Ferocious Howl with 7 cards in hand.
Or a Dr. Boom.
Or a Dr. Boom's Scheme that has grown to 7 armor.
We could go on.
We could.
And we shall.
A Gluttonous Ooze on a Gore Howl that has not swung.
An Arcane Artificer into a Flame Strike.
A Light's Justice attacking into an Ice
This would be a
Barrier.
good time for a master plan.
Are you done?
Nope. A Eternium Rover that has been hit by a Warpath plus a half of the amount of armor that it gives upon being attacked.
Okay then.
A Vicious Scrap Hound with a War Gear magnetized onto it.
Gorgeous. You win.
Yes! I know my armor.
Defend the gates!
That'd be a good game show.
Mia Moore. Monomorph? It's like armor and it also means love.
It's the same word.
Yes.
Huh.
Well, no, I mean, it sounds like the English word for armor,
Oh.
is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what the French for armor is.
I like your translations. Your translations are based entirely on phonetics.
Yeah.
I can
When I
tell-
try to
I
speak
can tell
Chinese,
you-
it's complete gobbledygook because it's just the sounds that sound most like their English counterparts.
I could tell you do well in foreign countries.
I don't. I was there for less than a day and I broke my arm.
At this point, you're just doing it to yourself. Well, Cydonia plays Dr. Boom Mad Genius. I guess there is a Hearthstone game going on.
It's finally starting, yeah.
Yeah.
The board has been cleared, relatively even health totals. And SirSalty able to push the
Okay,
initiative
then.
on this turn. He's got quite a few ways in which to do that, though. I think I like saving the Snip Snap for playing it on an already existing mech, magnetizing on and pushing 3 Snip Snaps worth of damage, removing 6/7 of a Blast Shield worth of armor.
Job done.
Thanks for the clarification on the amount of armor. One cool thing to note is SirSalty did pick up Archivist Elysiana from Geppetto. Has not drawn Barista Lynchin yet.
True.
So that acts as sort of the old Brewmaster effect or Baleful Banker effect.
Yeah.
Before the Archivist Elysiana changed to 9 mana. Will allow SirSalty to get the second Archivist Elysiana. Now, on that point, I don't think the Warrior matchups come down to that very much.
I agree. I think very often the one Archivist Elysiana should be enough to decide one way or the other. I think the amount of Elysianas is much less important than when you play them is really crucial because it not only gives you more fatigue if you draw your entire deck, it can also overwrite the bombs that you have already in your deck. So
Yes.
if you can get yourself to a situation where you've distilled your deck down to just mostly bombs or like 50% bombs, you're very, very happy to just slam an Elysiana and not take the damage.
Yeah.
Okay
And
then.
there's a couple of cool things to note in this matchup with how players manage their bombs. One of the biggest ones is you need to kind of get your bombs in relatively early, kind of in bursts, so that way your opponent is drawing bombs consistently throughout the matchup.
Yeah.
And if you can't, then the best course is to save your bombs until after Elysiana.
Yes.
To shuffle the bombs in post Elysiana.
Right.
Post Elysiana bombs.
And that's
P-E-Bs. Pebs. You got to get your Pebs.
I love that.
I'm learning so much from you, TJ.
What's funny is that 3 Elysiana bombs are also Pebs. So it can sometimes get confusing when you get down to the lingo, but either way, you need Pebs in one form or the other.
But thankfully, the 6/7 of a second that you save by saying Pebs instead of post-Elysiana bombs is massively overcompensated by this 5-minute explanation that you've been giving now. But I agree, when bombs are played is of paramount importance in this matchup. Cydonia, for the most part, has shown a lot of willingness to just throw them down.
Yes.
Very happy to just play this aggressively as possible.
Yeah, and SirSalty still has a reasonable amount of cards in his deck. He's shuffling in a good amount. I mean, it was 4 just last turn.
Yeah.
So it's likely that he'll draw a significant amount of them
Right.
before Elysiana can reasonably come down. And if SirSalty wants to override 10 cards in his deck to play Elysiana, one, that's usually a tempo loss.
Yeah.
Because you're just playing Elysiana. And 2, Cydonia still has double Wrench Caliber.
Yeah.
So he can still get some Pebs.
To go along with his Pebs.
Yes. Pretty below average Omega assembly here.
Yeah. I mean, you're looking for pretty much any of the warrior-specific mechs.
Yeah. The one benefit that Nightmare Amalgam does is after you play Elysiana, if you're offered an Ember Scale Drake, which does have a higher likelihood of being picked because it is a warrior legendary or warrior card and you are discovering it, then it also activates that as well as being a mech.
Which gets you 5/7 of a blast shield of armor when played.
You better believe it does.
So none of these minions are battle cries for Barista Lynchin. As SirSalty will definitely be looking to try and get a little bit of extra value off Lynchin when possible.
Faceless Manipulator is a battle cry.
Yes.
But you have to play Barista Lynchin very quickly to get the Faceless Manipulator back in your hand.
Not a lot of people know that about Hearthstone.
Nope. Missile Launcher is interesting because of the magnetic.
This would be a good time
The
for a
problem
master
is-
plan.
Oh no, he does have the Goblin Bomb on board as well as Turn Remover, so he could just magnetize now.
Yeah. Or he could go Missile Launcher and Vicious Scrap Hound, and then it would gain 1 armor for every activation.
Yes,
Be pretty sick.
that would be very sick. Does have the Scrap Hound in his hand, so that could have been a possibility. Decides to go for Kaboom Bot instead. That was the option that I was eyeing the least.
What was the other one? A unpowered steam. Or what was the third option after the missile
I don't
launcher?
remember. I guess
something bad.
Yeah, I guess it was the option that I was eyeing the second least.
Right.
Because I wasn't even eyeing the third one.
That's the thing. It's never the option that you suspect the most. It's never the option you suspect the least.
Okay, then.
The option you most medium suspect.
Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap.
I'm still waiting for someone to play Rusty Recycler as well, so that I can make the Recyclops joke.
Recyclops destroy. So I'm kind of curious where these wrench calibers are slated.
Yeah, it's definitely feeling like he has more of a deliberate plan at this point than he had before. Which is to just kill SirSalty. And I think it's still at the point where there are enough cards in SirSalty's deck to, as you pointed out, if he wants to play Elysiana here, Cydonia is fairly happy about that.
Yeah, and there's a significant amount of bombs still left in the deck, and Cydonia realizes that it doesn't really make sense to like alter game plans at this point. Because he did go in with his bombs earlier with Antidelic Double Clockwork Goblin.
Okay,
He's kind of
then.
giving up a significant amount of pressure by saying, well, I have enough bombs. I'll just hold on to these wrench calibers. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
Usually if you change game plans that late in the game, If SirSalty was just on the same one the whole time, trying to outvalue you, you're kind of playing into his game plan, which is not what you want to do. So I like just equip Wrench Caliber and swing.
I think what I want to see here from Cydonia is making sure he values his minions highly enough, because it would be very easy over the next few turns to just keep playing out Bulldozer, Omega Devastator, discover a mech, throw it down. Whereas I think he needs to find the time to use Warpath to destroy some of his opponent's minions, because otherwise he will trade minion for minion, just trade evenly across, and he is the player who will run out of minions first as it currently stands, because SirSalty has way more value in hand. It's not even close at the moment.
Yeah.
So I hope from Cydonia we see he evaluates his minions very highly so that he doesn't run out of threats.
Yeah.
And, you know, having said that, we could see Shield Slam Warpath on this turn, but that doesn't feel especially strong to me.
No. I think we can see what's in the box first for the delivery drone.
Yeah.
It does have Omega Devastator as a backup, but as you mentioned, it feels like a last case scenario type play where you want to just make sure that you have an answer to every threat.
Yeah. But I guess after he's gone for the Shield Slam, which felt pretty necessary. Oh, but Warpath's good in this matchup, though. Like, it can clear off a lot of stuff.
It's good to a certain extent. I kind of like, based on Cydonia's game plan and knowing how much value SirSalty has, it's just getting... I wouldn't have hated just getting the Brilliant Nullifier.
Me neither.
Because your opponent's board is full, they have to trade in themselves if they want board space. You can't even magnetic with a full board. They can't try and Shield Slam or whatever to gain tempo on the Brilliant Nullifier. If you get a Brawl out of there, cool. You were going to spend a Warpath to remove that stuff anyway.
Yeah. It was a very interesting turn there. Because, like, as I said, Shield Slam and Warpath are two good cards at this point in the game. For Cydonia, at least, because it looks like SirSalty is going to be the one piling on the pressure for the moment.
And one other interesting thing to notice, Cydonia just equipped the second Wrench Caliber without swinging. This is vulnerable to Harrison Jones. But
well, he swung with the other one.
He swung with the other one, yes.
Right, sorry, okay.
But he just equipped it instead of like winning.
Right, sorry, I understand.
And SirSalty is going to go for the first Archivist Elysiana here. I say first because he can Barista Lynch in it back and have access to a second one. He realized that there's still, there were still 3 or 4 bombs left in the deck. Yeah. And because Cydonia now is at 12 cards with a few of those being bombs himself, he's at parity with fatigue and can get rid of some bombs, so he kind of gains that life.
Some reasonable but not especially overwhelming options here, it's got to be said. If we could get a look at the Elysiana picks.
I don't know if we can.
Oh, sorry.
Right
oh, yeah. Never mind. But I imagine most of them there would have been fairly self-explanatory. You just generally pick the biggest minion.
The biggest minion or the minion with the highest amount of value.
Yes.
Like
card draw can actually be pretty good as well.
Yeah.
If you're running low on hand size.
It looked like he picked a Arathi Weaponsmith over Eccentric Scribe. You can see it for a split second.
Right.
I thought that. And in that instance, it's like Eccentric Scribe seems really good because it's just a very big minion that's also sticky on board. But sometimes that extra weapon damage can be the difference maker.
You just want to be aggressive, close things out quickly. Yeah. It's kind of annoying in terms of mana for SirSalty that you couldn't go 1 mana Elysiana Faceless and then Barista for 2 Archivist Elysianas, because even though the extra fatigue wouldn't have been that relevant, being able to overwrite more bombs could have been pretty important.
Yeah.
But even then, I think 1 extra Elysiana should be more than enough as it currently stands.
1 PEB deployed. Dalaran Librarian.
I'd say a fair amount of anti-synergy with what SirSalty has got going on at the moment.
I concur.
It's a cool card, though. I do like Dalaran, like a librarian a lot.
At the very beginning of the set, we saw some Silence Handlocks.
Silence Priests.
Silence Priests. It was interesting.
They weren't that bad, I don't think.
Didn't have too much legs, though, I feel. no, I don't mean the Hearthstone players slang for legendaries.
What's up, bruh? You got legs?
I got like 12 legs in one deck, dude.
Check him on your leg, bro. Very underwhelming Glassmaster Boom indeed here for Cydonia.
Didn't you just make the speech earlier about... Wow, players these days are so entitled.
Well, it
They
is
play
very
one of the best
underwhelming.
legendaries to be ever printed. and
Think
they
about
complain
how
about
good it could be.
That's true.
I'm spoiled now. Like you said, the power level has risen, and I uproariously agreed with you.
SirSalty is starting to get low on life.
Okay,
One bomb
then.
shuffled into the deck. A couple bombs in Sidonia's deck, so they're pretty much at even cards, considering they both have Archivist Elysiana.
Right.
But Cydonia has...
He's got a lot of threats now as well.
Yeah. This is going to be interesting to see how this one pans out. I mean, some of it does come down to the quality of cards that Archivist Elysiana gives. Because even if Cydonia has to play Archivist Elysiana a little bit earlier than when he's completely out of cards,
That's fine.
if he gets like a higher value Elysiana overall and can generate more tempo, since he has a life lead right now,
Yeah.
that may translate to him able to pressure SirSalty out of the game, despite SirSalty having a slight card advantage.
If he gets some of those premium outcomes like Corcoran Elites, Wrench Calibers, basically anything that does a whole lot of damage, SirSalty could just be in trouble here. But having said that, he does have 2 Zilliaxes in hand. And I don't know if you've ever Zilliaxed a Zilliax onto a Zilliax, but it feels pretty good.
I don't think I ever have, actually. Unfortunately. I'm not hashtag living my best life.
Gotta get some more legs, bro.
Gotta get some hashtag legs, bruh. Not a super high value Elysiana from SirSalty.
Yeah, very underwhelming actually. It's now that we're getting a good look at it.
Yeah. I think one of the choices was the Arathi Weaponsmith. So if you think of it that way, it's like very low value, small minions.
Yeah. You just want something that hits face or is very big.
Yeah. Or can swing board states.
That's true.
Wrench Caliber, honestly, is
Okay,
pretty much like
then.
the nuts option.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like Corcoran Elite, Wrench Caliber,
Yeah.
like those are the premium options.
Yeah. Sometimes even Gorehowl, as weird as it is.
That's true.
Just
Can be.
hit him for 7.
Grom can be good with
Yeah.
a Warper.
Love that thing.
The very powerful combo now coming into effect though of the Vicious Scrap Hound and the Zilliax to gain 5 armor and 5 health all in one fell swoop.
These Omega Assemblies have not been great. Now, Mechanical Whelp is pretty good, just because with Dr. Boom active, you can Mechanical Whelp, trade over the Mechanical Whelp, and then immediately trade over the Mechanical Dragon.
I think that's what it's called.
It would make sense.
No, it's actually called Keith.
Faceless Manipulator onto Bulldozer would allow a value trade onto the Bane. That's
This would be a
Quite
good time
cheeky.
for a master plan.
but then you'd leave a giant Bulldozer up, so I don't know if that's worth it.
Ugh, and none of these small annoying minions even allow him to clear stuff off right now.
No, it's kind of brutal, but the Zilliax creates a massive body.
I mean, it's good. It is. It's good, but it just gets devastated straight away. Like SirSalty, he's just losing board state. To be honest, I thought he was in such a good spot.
There's just been some little things here and there that he's been doing like slightly inefficiently that have added up over time. Like I felt like he's had a kind of a better clear at every step of the way and has been using like 2 big resources to deal with a board state that he may have been able to get away with using 1 resource. And I see what he's trying to do. He's trying to outright take the board by using additional resources to do so. But because Cydonia has been valuing his mechs really highly, his minions really highly, like this Omega Devastator, which has had plenty of targets to hit.
I think I've liked what I've seen from Cydonia a lot.
He's been a little greedier, not trying to go on board, keeping his health total up.
But he has, he's been playing out his stuff at a reasonable clip because he hasn't had much removal. It's just been pulling ahead on value that's been his win. And like, I mean, if you look at this hand from SirSalty, it just does nothing for the most part. Brilliant Nullifier is really his best chance of getting ahead.
Maybe getting a delivery drone with a significant sized mech and Brilliant Nullifying it so Cydonia can't deal with it. Maybe that's like
what I'm looking at.
His out.
But against Dr. Boom, like even when you are Dr. Boom yourself, it's so difficult to stick a board. Which is why these games take quite a while.
Now again, Cydonia pacing his threats. There's no rush because, like we said, he's kind of even on card count. Even though SirSalty had 2 Archivist Elysianas because of the Burst of Lichen, still feels like Cydonia can just kind of play his later, and then it comes down to, 1, if one player has more bombs than the other, more Pebs, post-Elysiana bombs, or 2, who gets the higher value Elysiana. And SirSalty's first Elysiana, not high value. It's probably going to come down to whether or not his second one is.
Yeah, I'd have to go back again to those early turns. But maybe he's just using his removal too aggressively because now that he's got none, he's just struggling to fight back.
Well, we talked about a lot of Magnetize onto the Brilliant Nullifier.
And this is really his best shot. But he can even trade off a little bit of the stuff on board.
The weird thing is this almost gets dealt with on board. There's 9 damage loaded up in the Mechanical Whelp that's on board already, plus Steel Rager. It looks like he's going to preemptively trade into it. But again, Cydonia has Steel Rager to answer this.
And so he's preemptively clearing up as much as he can here. I mean, there's just a plethora of ways here for Cydonia to answer back on this board. I guess Steel Rager does it quite nicely. He wants to fit in the hero power though, obviously.
Brilliant Nullifiers, I'll keep taking those.
I mean, what Brilliant Nullifier plus Faithful Lumi on this turn would allow a sweet VT. And as we both know, you a VT.
Even just Brilliant Nullifier itself would allow for a sweet VT. Thanks to the B. The buff.
Oh, right, sorry. I thought you were going for the bot, which helps it trade in as well.
No, that's the BT. What? It's longer to say than bot. Yeah, the Red Band Wasp. I can't remember, but there had to have been a better option than Red Band Wasp.
They were coming fairly quickly. Like on some of them, there were just some really bad options though. Like it was Battle Rage and Recurring Villain and like just vanilla statted or tech cards that don't really do anything.
For every Elysiana that gives you Double Wrench Caliber and Blastmaster Boom, there's the ones that give you Dalaran Librarian and Red Band Wasp.
She giveth and she taketh away.
As long as it keeps out arrows.
Try this.
And now Cydonia is really getting a good look at what SirSalty was given off the Archivist Elysiana, and he knows this is very good news for him.
Yeah.
If he can find any kind of bomb cards, and well, cards that shuffle bombs into his opponent's deck, he should be able to close this one out very quickly.
Yeah. SirSalty's completely out of stuff. Cydonia has a nice clear here. If he wants to get rid of his Elec into the Red Band Wasp, he can then Microbots into the Arathi Weaponsmith and then Dynomatic.
Yep.
A nice, easy way to clear without expending too many of these resources he has in his hand.
Master plan.
The one thing that Cydonia does need to make sure he does is find a way to have tempo in his Elysiana turn. Since he has the resource advantage, there's not too much of an excuse to have to play Elysiana into a big board. That's the one thing that he kind of has to navigate around. And I can imagine we're going to see him expend resources, a lot of them, on the turn that the turn before he wants to play Elysiana. Like, that's when you're going to see the Beryllium Nullifier magnetize.
I mean, we're already seeing that here. Like, he's cleared the board. He's got something in play. If nothing big comes down from SirSalty, I think this would be a pretty happy Elysiana turn from Cydonia. Yeah, I mean, actually, having said that, maybe he wants SirSalty to play his Elysiana first, or at least a little bit closer to fatigue.
Well, there he goes.
Well, there you go. Perfect.
Wow, oh my gosh. Pumpkin Peasant, okay, because it has lifesteal.
It's
So
got to be
if it
Pumpkin
sticks-
Peasant, right? Like, deckhand, you have no guarantee you'll have a weapon.
Yeah.
In which case, it's awful if it's a 1-mana 1/2, like,
Yeah.
so bad. It's not even that good if it has charge. I think it's just Pumpkin Peasant.
I'm going to try and focus and see exactly which one he picks.
All right. Laser Eyes Teej.
Pumpkin Peasant.
That was it. Axe?
Yeti's okay.
Yeah, he's not bad. Maybe you do just want a bit of statage. We're making it hard mode for you here, TJ.
No.
Oh, I love that fuse thing.
Like, if he picked right away, it'd be easier.
He's
but
got
I
to
have
pick quickly.
He does. Fire War
That was an
Axe.
Rocket Boots? You can...
Yeah, he took Rocket Boots. Core Hound?
It's got to be that Hound.
No, he picked, what was the left card? Rampage?
Rampage, yeah. And
Added
Frost
to-
Elemental. I
Frost
think.
Elemental, okay. Still pretty low value.
Better,
Better, yes,
but not great.
but low value.
Yeah.
And I think this is where Cydonia goes. Omega Devastator, maybe even play Militia Commander. Oh no, Beryllium Nullifier deals with the Elysiana. And then he can zap. I think the
stay at what, like 5 health there? That's
Okay,
pretty
then.
good. Yeah.
And I think the problem for Cydonia is if he does use Omega Devastator, and SirSalty did get a big pickup from his Archivist Elysiana, he wants to be able to have that. So I like the Beryllium Nullifier better.
Me too. It sets up for, if it isn't cleared, Beryllium Nullifier magnetized again, which could pretty much just end the game.
Yeah.
Or will just end the game, as we can see, because SirSalty didn't get any kind of removal or silence. And he can't even give his opponent's minion +3/+3.
If only he could play Dalaran Librarian on his opponent's side of the board.
If only.
I mean, it wouldn't be that bad, because you give your opponent a 2/3 to silence their minion.
To silence 2 minions?
Okay,
To silence
then.
2 minions?
I'd think about it.
Interesting proposition you have there, sir.
I shall consider.
Some peace and quiet!
Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. And
As long as it
SirSalty,
keeps out arrows.
on his last legs here, I mean, Cydonia hasn't even played Elysiana yet. Like, there's a chance that Cydonia could just stick a minion and win without ever playing Elysiana.
Yep. I mean, to be honest, it's looking like that might just be the case.
Yeah. But he's going
If
to
he
play
wanted to.
see what's in the box.
Here we go.
Ooh, tough choice here. He's just showing off his Golden Celebration card back. The Golden Celebration card back, that card back there is only given to players who have reached the highest level of Hearthstone Esports competition. Cydonia has been to a World Championship. He's also been to multiple seasonal championships throughout the years. Won the 2016 America's Summer Championship.
You're better at your history
Or
than I am.
spring. It might be spring. That's the event that qualified him to compete at the World Championship later that year, which he didn't have a great performance.
Yeah.
Dropped out in group stage, but still has had a pretty fantastic career other than that.
I mean, we can already see with the card he drew off of the Town Crier on
Much
that turn,
better.
Already much better, even if we don't know any of the other 4 cards he discovered.
And that's going to be scary.
Rampage.
It's also got to be scary for SirSalty. He's looking at a hand where he has the was it the Bloody Axe, something like that, in double Rampage, and he saw Cydonia play Archivist Elysiana and then draw a card with Town Crier.
He's thinking, right, best case scenario, we're looking at Skaterbot here.
Yeah, or Red Band Wasp. He's like, oh, he got one similar to mine.
As the old saying goes, one good wasp deserves another. As no matter how swole this librarian gets. Oh, it's kind of like a battle of the librarians at the moment, where it's like librarian versus archivist. A feud as old as time.
And got a shield slam from Archivist Elysiana as well. And look at that. It lines up perfectly, even without the blast shield, to take out this librarian.
And that's pretty much everything that SirSalty has.
Yeah. Now, hold on. He could draw a Rampage off the top.
He could not. He's already drawn both of them.
Wasn't one of them from his first?
Oh, wait, did he get two? Did he pick Rampage twice?
Possible. I thought he got another one. Fiery War Axe. And that'll do it. Cydonia takes the series 2-0 over SirSalty. Moves up to 1-1 in the Swiss standings.
Yep.
So not too bad. I have a lot of faith in Cydonia. I've been following him on social media for a long time, even though because he did not get selected for Grandmasters, he took a step back, but was excited to compete in Vegas and see what he's still got left in the tank.
It's got to be said, though, I'm sad to see SirSalty going down 0-2. I'm obviously somewhat biased, given that we are both from the United Kingdom, but I think he is a very, very strong Hearthstone player indeed, as he's proven with multiple strong ladder finishes.
Yeah. And you can definitely see that players are set up and getting started with their round 3 matchups, as with that game finished, round 2 is completely done.
Yeah.
And we're not going to waste any time. We are going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to jump right into the action for the 3rd round of Swiss here at the Masters Tour Las Vegas.